So I'm not going to say your name. So I'm going to need you to say your name for me.
What now?
Yeah.
Eliza Watson.
It's very nice. That's very English.
Thank you.
And you used to be?
Amelie Alden.
Amelie Alden.
Yeah.
That still sounds bad when I say it. I can't.
No, it doesn't.
I can't say names.
Do you know the amount of people that couldn't pronounce that name? I have people calling me Emily, Amelia, Amel. What's Amel?
I've had probably close to all of the messages where people call me Karl instead of Kris.
Why? Oh, because your last name's Karl.
It's actually my middle name.
Right, okay.
So my last name's half German, half Arabic, and really hard to spell and pronounce.
Say it.
Tofik Faber. It's TOWFIQ-FAELBER.
Tofik Faber.
Yeah, but when you see it, people say Taufik Faber, Faber, and they kind of like vowels become.
Oh, I think that was like Swedish or something.
Right, it's German. I think it has a Dutch meaning as well, to like dye, like color.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I'll call myself Kris Karl, and then people just call me Kris. I've made it easier for everyone, and then everyone calls me Karl, which is really annoying. Okay, so you told me earlier that you've dipped. Chica, do we really need to be using that right now? Do we really? Do we? Come here. Lay down. So you told me earlier that you have dipped in and out of modelling.
Yeah.
So how many times have you come back into it or been in modelling?
I would say there's been 3 main
stints,
right? Each under a different incarnation of self. Yeah, that sounds really spiritual. Actually, that sounds. It does actually.
You reincarnated.
Okay, I basically put on weight, lost weight, put on weight. You know, like changed my hair and called myself a different name each time. So I did. I had a different thing.
So what's the process then? Is it like you can only take it for so long and you need to have a break? Or?
Yeah, basically, I think like the first stint I had, it just all got a bit too much. I wasn't really into the kind of stuff I was doing basically, and so I left. The second stint I had, as I said to you earlier, I realised when I was about 23, 24 that I'd never even written a CV, let alone stood in front of anyone for an interview. So I went into the real world.
So was it literally the desire to just see what the real world was like?
Yeah, pretty much. Right. And just think, right, I do have a brain.
And then you realise what the real world was like and you came back.
And I don't do the whole work for another person thing.
Yeah, same. That's like the biggest driving force. It's like, I think more not wanting a boss than wanting to be a photographer.
Yeah, I remember driving to work. Like I worked in Basingstoke and I drove from Southampton, and I would drive there and just think, why the bloody hell are we all doing this at the same time? We all have to start at the same time. No wonder there's, I don't know, backlog of traffic. Then we all finish work at the same time. I don't know.
If you were to be designing a society, you would sort of stagger shit so that there's at least a couple of free roads every so often.
Yeah, I remember going up to the big boss at that web design company where I worked and actually suggesting that. As the
like staggering out the starting times,
Yeah, he wasn't into it. No, he really didn't care. He said go make a
So it's more a case of you wanting to kind of freshen things up and change things up than it is like not necessarily bad experiences in modelling that made you walk away?
Well, the first time, I mean, there were multiple bad experiences, but in a sense that I did that to myself.
Right.
I worked to fairly high levels and... you know, when you're just accepting jobs willy-nilly at those kind of levels, you get bad experiences.
Right.
And I did. And I couldn't hold myself. You know, I was just 18.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But, so that did me in actually. So I left then. And then I came back another time. And that was truly just, you know, I was doing it maybe a bit too much. Again, not just picking the ones that I really wanted to do, just, you know, it was a full-time income, which was what I was after. And I just burned out, I think, lost interest. And when you're not interested as a model...
It's a really hard job.
It's a really hard job, yeah. And you look crap in your pictures. So that I left and, I always tend to come back. You know, I always end up coming back.
So when it comes to... is there like a correlation between... Because you said you were doing high levels, therefore bad stuff. Do you think that's actually a correlation? Like the higher levels you do, the more... bad stuff that happens?
Not necessarily, but I think I was just a young girl, really, not really knowing herself very well. I mean, there are people out there that do have a stronger mind maybe than me, and can shoot at high levels and really enjoy it. And, you know, they probably won't get the piss taken out of them.
Yeah.
But I was young and quite impressionable, and I didn't have any boundaries really. Like, you know, people tend to, even at the highest of high levels, they'll still have their own sense of what they are comfortable with and not comfortable with. I didn't have that going on. So I think people could just see that and just try to do whatever they want, basically.
I see.
Also, it's age. I think as I've got older, I've got messed about less and less and less. Like,
I think, Christ, I mean, you look at the age that you can drive at, the age you can vote, and the age that, and they're trying to lower the voting age, which is nuts.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing. I think it should raise it to like 35. Just let people that have actually got a bit of life experience make some decisions. I'm sick of hearing what 18-year-olds think. When I was an 18-year-old, I was an idiot.
Yeah, 100%. But when you're 18, you think you know a lot more than you do when you're 35.
That's fine. Just don't give them the power to do anything with that. Just let them pretend on their own.
That's what they do in unis, don't they? That's why they set up these little fake uni, you know, elections. And
and they have like all of everything's a protest now, and everything's political now.
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily seeing a correlation between like levels to bad stuff.
No.
So what about in terms of the type of work, like the genres? Is there like a link between certain genres and certain things happening?
I think, you know, not necessarily. I mean, one of the experiences I had was actually with someone that was commercial photographer mostly, fashion, all that kind of stuff. Really good. And I think maybe he was hiding behind that a little bit because, you know, I just didn't think that, you know, but I think where you get the kind of just awkward, cringy situations where you realise that's just a dude with a camera that wants to see my tits. It's usually glamour. But again, you know, I don't believe that any particular style attracts, you know, you get dodgy people in every genre.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, we're seeing with even like films and stuff that's going on in Hollywood, you can see that there's just guys that are just weird. I mean, Louis C.K. is a stand-up comedian and he's done some stuff.
I quite like Louis C.K. What's he done?
Apparently he used to like fiddling with himself in front of people and forcing them to watch. That was his thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, just, okay.
He is a bit of a fucked up guy, but like, I didn't realise in that way.
You've just got a bit too much time on your hands, mate. You just need to get a hobby, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of
weird.
That's
really kind of like, you know, why don't you at least...
I don't think we should go down that road.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, but I do also think, and I don't know if this is a little bit controversial, but I do think it's up to the girl to stand, like, you know, if someone's going to start on a shoot making maybe the odd, you know, innuendo remark or this and that, it's up to you whether you say, excuse me, that makes me uncomfortable.
Kind of step in early.
Yeah. Because that, like now, again, it's just age. I was just a bit impressionable when I was younger and a little bit sort of like I didn't know when to stand my ground. And I think now it's very rare that kind of thing ever happens and most people are actually genuinely all right. But when it does happen, you can just nip it in the bud and you know, that's up to you. That's not up to the photographer.
There is a reliance though by certain sort of, there are predatory personalities that rely on the awkwardness of a situation to fight the other person pushing back. It's a very English thing of like not being, it's basically being passive aggressive about it, but being really passive aggressive to like the nth degree where it's like you're not directly doing something, but you really are, especially when it comes to being English, because we're very keen to not confront something until we have to.
Yeah.
So like if you look at like if you've ever commuted or you've ever tried to park a car and someone else has tried to take the space, the way people in England confront each other is bizarre. It's almost like silent, not really confronting.
Yeah.
And I think there's a predatory sort of personality maybe everywhere, but I've definitely seen it with English guys especially. There are girls that do it, but for a completely different reason. And they'll make a situation really horribly awkward so that the other person will just kind of go with it rather than have the confrontation.
Yeah,
and that's messed up.
That's actually harder because, you know, it's a real tough one. I know the exact type of person you mean. And it's a tough one because some people just have absolutely no tact. And whether they're a photographer or a bloke, where they can't talk to a girl. And the things that they say come out a bit wrong.
Yep.
And then there's people that will just push the button a little bit, push the button a little bit.
Yeah, they know that you aren't 100% if they're weird or if they're being bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're kind of like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And they know that and they work with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. But, the sad thing is for the people that are just a bit odd, what happens, you close off and you don't get good pictures out of a woman or a man or anyone that's just a little bit slightly uncomfortable.
Well, I suppose. Okay, so you've modeled for quite a while. What would you say so out of, say, every 10 photographers, how many of them are weird. or bad in terms of their conduct?
I don't know. Again, I'll say with age and experience, I have learned a little bit about how to navigate my way around situations where someone might be weird. Like, for example, look at their work, properly look at their work. And if it's just a load of girls with their boobs out smiling, might be a weirdo, on
his stairs.
Yeah. Or or you could, as well, I don't do any TF work, and I used to do the odd TF shoot or very low rate shoot, and that was really shooting myself in the foot if I didn't want weirdos, because I might get more work, but the type of people that would shoot me wouldn't necessarily be 100% interested in photography. They don't need to be if it's like a tenner an hour, do they? They don't need to be.
It's a very low commitment on their end to be involved.
To actually, So I think they are actually very few and far between these days. But in this sort of approach, this era of modelling, I kind of approached it a bit different, and I've kind of gone to myself, can I swear? Or is it not a sweary thing?
You can swear. You've already sworn twice. I've sworn 5 times. You're fine.
Yeah, I just kind of thought, well, don't fuck yourself over this time. Yeah. Just do the stuff you really want to do. Just look at the pictures. If you like them, do the shoot. If you don't, promise yourself you will not take that job, because whether they're a weirdo or not, I'm not going to enjoy it. So I think what's happened as well is this time around, I'm picking photographers to do jobs for that I genuinely think their work is really cool. And then when you get there, you're usually on a level with them, and, they're not a weirdo because, few and far between. I would say less than 1 in 10.
Less than 1 in 10. Okay.
When you do get the one.
So out of 100 then, 1 in 100, do you reckon?
A bit more than that. God. I would say 1 in every 30 might be a weirdo on purpose.
Right. And if you think about that though, where you were saying about it's a shame for the people that are just a bit socially awkward. If you think about it, 1 in 30 people that knock on the door are going to try and break into your house.
Genuinely.
You have to consider the people that aren't necessarily bad. You have to lump them in there just for your own safety.
Yeah.
So it becomes almost like a firewall.
Yeah, a little bit. I think you've got your modelling persona, which gives so much of yourself. And then you've got your actual real self. And when you can relax in front of a person. But otherwise, it's a little bit like you're behind a customer service desk or something.
Yeah.
A lot more than 1 in 30 are just a bit socially awkward.
It's I've always said camera-related paraphernalia is something that does attract people that are a bit strange.
Yeah, I'm a little bit strange though myself,
Yeah, same. But I think that there are a lot of people. I always say the same thing. I've probably said it on this podcast 1,000 times. But there's this thing I say where it's it's a social crutch. I'm not good at getting to know people, so I'll get a camera because then people will be interested in the camera. But the problem is that if you meet a model or anyone that's interested in photography, they don't really care about the camera after about the first 5 seconds. So you need to have something else.
Yeah.
And that creates the weirdo because they haven't got anything else.
Yeah, that's a lot of the time. A lot of the time you just get people that have probably got into it to increase their own confidence, to be able to talk to girls. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But you'll get people that kind of overthink the whole situation, and you can tell they're maybe a bit nervous or just, maybe a bit socially awkward. But I wouldn't class that as someone being a weirdo. That's just you have
odd. Just a little bit
odd. But you can tend to, as long as you're all right with people.
I think I've done a couple of shoots though where I've really struggled to click with person photographing.
Do you find that more hard?
The problem I have is that my way of putting out that fire is more petrol. So me talking has caused the problem, and I'm like, I'll talk my way out of this, and I just make it 10 times worse. And I think I probably have left 1 or 2 shoots where the model's like, he was really weird. Whereas I was just like, she's really awkward to be around. Or he's really bad to work with or whatever. I've had that a few times where I'm almost scratching my head at why they do what they do, because they almost don't want to be around people.
It's very strange, isn't it? Because I got back into this job basically because I can only do small stints with people.
Yeah.
So that's quite funny. I like to have a lot of, after a shoot, it's quite an intense experience actually, a shoot. If you think about it, you're very much one-to-one with another person.
Yeah.
And it's not intimate in the sense of like love intimate, but it's, you have to, if you want to do your best, you really do have to give your all to that person for a little while.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean when you literally, there is nothing there. I'm going to say the word chemistry, but it's not that. It's just
it's like chemistry. Yeah. It's just there's no bond. I've had it where I've like reached across in terms of like with conversation. I'm just like, okay, so, how did you get into it or whatever? Almost the same way I would do a podcast. I just talk the same way.
Yeah.
And they'll just be like, a friend told me. And you're like, okay, so what was your first shoot like? It was all right.
Really?
And you're like, what? Like, how do you normally do this? I don't know how you normally conduct a shoot, because this is bizarre. I can't photograph you. I always say this about weddings, when I photograph weddings, is that you shouldn't ever give yourself a break for something being wrong at a wedding. So if timings run late, you can't use it as an excuse for you not doing your job properly. You always have to have the mentality. It's good for anyone to have the mentality of, I could have done better. Because then you do better next time, and you're always wanting to improve. If you're always looking for excuses, you can always find them. But with a shoot like that, I come away and I just think, they did not put me in a position to do anything good at all.
Anything different. Yeah, I've had that with photographers too.
Yeah.
Not very often. But do you know what? It makes this job, which I do genuinely really love, really hard, because it was only the other week actually that I experienced that. Right. Like somebody that just did not speak. Like every now and again, maybe a tiny bit of direction, but that was it. And I came home and I was absolutely exhausted. And I thought, was I really shit? Or like what?
Yeah, you come away and you're almost like, I've got less. I've lost more energy.
Yeah,
but I've done less work.
Yeah,
it's a bizarre feeling.
Yeah.
It's. I would almost say photographers, especially if they're the ones that are like hiring models or they're wanting to learn photography, they need to come in with like some pre-arranged questions in their head. Just things that roll conversation. And then it's the easiest thing in the world, generally speaking, to talk to anybody. Just don't keep asking questions just like why, where. But if you say to someone like, oh, okay, so how did you get into modeling? And I say, oh, it's my mum said I should do it, and she just booked me a shoot and I just started there. And you go, okay, so what kind of stuff were you into to begin with, and how much has it changed, and what kind of style do you like now? Is your mum still involved? Was your mum a model or whatever? There's always like a connective question that can keep the conversation going. And then if they're not reciprocal, at least you're keeping something alive.
Yeah. I don't know, like I saw a meme the other day. Was it a meme? I don't know what it was, but it was like a paragraph of text basically that had been shared on Instagram by a photographer.
Yeah.
And I got the feeling, I'm not sure if I'm going to word it exactly how it was, but what it said was something like, make sure you're confident at the start of the shoot. If you're nervous, the model will pick up on this and also be nervous. Never ever go close to the model. Never ever touch her until she says it's okay. I thought, we're not small wild animals.
Yeah.
Like, I think some people feel afraid of how like personable to be. Yeah, kind of, or like a little vole. Like, I don't know why I said vole, but I think maybe some people are a little bit like, oh, I can't do this and I can't say that and I can't, so I might just not say anything.
I don't know. Maybe I'll be honest, I've never really understood why it requires so much thought. If my wife went to work and someone went up and touched her hair, just like that, who she didn't know, and just started like brushing her hair, like moving her hair over her ear or something, and I saw that, I'd want to punch him because that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
If you're on a train and you make a comment to someone about the way that they're dressed, that there's no connection between the two of you, and it's not necessarily the nicest thing to say, or it's slightly sexual, whatever, you're probably going to get punched or arrested or whatever.
Yeah.
Just apply common sense.
And treat it like a human being situation.
It's another person.
Yeah.
Talk about the weather, the news, what they've been up to.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why that's complicated.
Yeah, when it gets all sexual, I must say it does grind my gears a little bit. When there's too much innuendo. And I mean, I just don't find innuendo very funny anyway. It's just not my kind of humour. But also, like, I did this one shoot and the guy just making conversation. We were not shooting this. We were not shooting fetish at all. We were shooting like fashion, lingerie in a studio, and he was just talking about different things to do with like bondage and stuff.
Right.
And all I was thinking is, dude, what's in your head right now?
Yeah.
But anything normal to converse about.
Yeah.
Yeah, just talk about that, right? Like, I don't know.
I mean, there's a couple of subjects I always try and avoid unless I really know the person. Politics at the moment, because everyone's a twat.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Everyone's not just got an opinion, but they've got a gun to back their opinion up. And if you even remotely think that they're not 100% right and you wouldn't be willing to die for their cause, then they're going to throw a tantrum. And I can't be bothered with it. People should just learn that other people have different opinions and move on.
Yeah.
So politics at the moment, I can't really talk about. And I generally try and stay away from talking photography too much. Like, as in the technical aspect.
Right.
Because it's incredibly boring for me.
I find it quite interesting.
I find it so boring.
I suppose you're a photographer.
I just think, maybe, I just find it quite boring when it's like, to me, it's like, I used to be a chef.
Okay.
My first job. And that's what I thought I was going to be for the rest of my life. That's like, I trained as a kid, basically. My whole upbringing was for me to end up being a chef. But I'd never be in a kitchen and be like, okay, so the reason that we're going to incorporate egg yolks here is because we need to form a good coagulation. Like, you don't talk like while you're doing the job.
Right.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You talk about something else. You talk about the football while you're...
Okay, yeah. In that level of detail.
I try not to talk shop too much, if that makes sense.
Get it?
Like, the reason I'm doing this right now is because it's going to have this effect and blah, and then go into like really long, boring detail about inverse square law or anything like that. Yeah,
there is a certain...
There's a point where I could just see the eyes glaze and they're looking through me. Yeah. They're just thinking about their dinner. As far as the working with like newer photographers, especially, have you worked with many that have never worked with a model before?
Couple, yeah.
And how is that, like, from your point of view? Because you're basically leading, right?
Well, kind of. I've done them on workshops. So a photographer I used to work fairly regularly for, put on these lighting workshops, and someone would book him to teach them.
Right.
And every now and again it'll be a person that's literally never even done a shoot ever.
Okay.
Like with a model.
Yeah.
So I guess there is a lot less interaction directly with me.
Yeah.
In something like that. You do get people that will really over direct. Like, they want you to move your arm exactly in this.
Like micromanage.
Yeah, kind of. Although I don't know how, people work in different ways, but usually I kind of know if someone tells me, all right, put your hands through your hair, I then know how to put my hands.
Yeah.
But micro details of posing.
Yeah. Just turn your pinky very slightly.
Yeah. Or like referencing me sort of like, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, in the third person when I'm right there, because...
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so right. I guess it kind of... But some just normal, it's just nice, say hello and take some pictures. And that's kind of it. But I suppose what it is like if I was only just starting photography and I'd only just picked up a camera, there'd be so much to think about. And I'd probably forget there was a real human right in front of me, especially if I was, say, a wildlife photographer or a product photographer.
Yeah.
You just kind of see it as a thing, wouldn't you, to take pictures of it?
Yeah.
I suppose that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, it's not a nice way of saying it, but that kind of
is.
It depends. I think that there's a couple of things. There's two types of photographers, in my opinion, when it comes to photographing models. And we talked about this earlier. There's the ones that want the good photo and there's the ones that want the good shoot.
Yeah.
The shoot is the priority, and then there's ones where the photo is the priority. Personally, for me, it's the photo, because that's kind of, to me, if we're not going to get good photos, then I don't really see a point.
Yeah.
I could just be like playing with my dog, or playing on Xbox, or doing some work or whatever. It kind of defeats the purpose. But the ones that shoot with the sole intention of just enjoying the shoot, that's a really bizarre. To me, I can't get my head around the point of the expense. Like expensive camera, time with the model, studio, all of that. And then you just don't care about any end product. That's the side of things I can't get my head around.
Yeah, I think there really is a very, really distinct two categories there. There really actually is.
There's not really many people in between.
No.
It's not people that are like, well, if I get a good shot, then that's okay. And if the shoot's okay, then that's fine. Like if you're that laid back, Jesus Christ, you're barely alive.
Yeah, you may as well just not.
There's a level of chill that you just want to throw a rock at someone's face. All right, and then when it comes to working with more established people, or people that have been doing it for a bit longer, or people that have their own style or their own business or whatever.
Yeah.
Who do you feel like sets the tone? When you turn up on the shoot, do you go in with the mindset of like, okay, I'll go in and be really chatty, I'll do this, I'll do that? Or do you just kind of go and read the room and go with whatever the room is?
I kind of try and read the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to try and blend with how they want to do it.
Yeah. Because there are some people like with me, I really want to keep it very, very casual.
Yeah.
And the direction I want to come in between conversation, so it doesn't feel like it's authoritative.
Yeah.
So if I have to give when we were shooting outside just now, if I have to give a piece of direction, I'll then talk afterwards about something else.
Right.
So it just feels like we're just having a conversation. When I say, oh, is there any chance you just turn this way, blah, 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 it feels more like it's part of the conversation as opposed to like, right, person who I've hired, do this thing.
Get it. Yeah.
Employee, do a thing.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, as far as setting the tone goes, what could be a put off?
Over-direction.
Over-direction.
And I worked with someone and he was very, very good and a professional and shot families and kids and stuff like that. So I guess in that sense, he was doing what he did and it would have worked if you were a person that didn't model, you walked into a studio, you'd be like, oh my God, what do I even do?
Right.
But for me, I just wanted to say, look, okay, yeah, I get it. Can I just?
Is it about having that rhythm? Like that fluid motion?
Yeah. And like, tell me a mood, whatever. But he did not stop directing me, and I don't know, maybe that works for some people. It just did not work for me. It just felt like constant overwhelm, because I'm trying to actually do the thing while I'm hearing the next.
Right, I see. Yeah.
And it was a little bit like, like in the 80s, like photographers would be like, oh yeah, brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, God.
Do more of that, smile, laugh for me, laugh. It was a little bit like that. And I was a little bit like, whoa, hang on a bloody minute.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like.
It works really well with people from California, not so much in England.
Maybe.
Where we're just really cynical.
Maybe a bit like that, yeah. Maybe a little bit of that, yeah.
I remember when I first started photography and I went to the University of YouTube and I was going through, the usual, like, you search a how-to video, which is going to give you everything but how-to. It's going to be some dick that's never done anything in their life.
5-minute intro.
Yeah. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
And so it was how to talk to a model. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to photograph a model for the first time. This would be helpful. And it was this Australian dude. And I can't do an Australian accent, but I will try.
Okay.
And he's on his porch, like quite a big porch. It's Australia, it's a big space, I guess. And he's on this big porch, holding it up like it's a rifle.
Or like a fish he's just caught.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So he's holding it up and he's like, right, guys, so today we're gonna teach you how to talk to a model. We've got a beautiful model with us. We're gonna take a shoot. You guys are gonna hear me communicate with the model and you're gonna learn the best way to interact with your subject. And I was like, okay. Let's see where this guy's quite aggressive.
Yeah.
And he turned around and there's this girl who was, most of her body was under 18 years old, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
She'd had a lot of everything done.
Right.
Everything.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
Like there was probably like 3 parts of her that were not
actually a human. Right, okay.
And she's wearing I would say a micro bikini, I guess, which is nothing like what I wanted to see, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, okay.
So she's like pneumatic, like nothing's covered. It's like 2 bits of tape and a cork.
Right.
And
oh my God.
it's so bad. And then he turns around with his camera, like slings his camera like it's a rifle, and he goes, yeah, that's it, baby. Yeah, you're so sexy. And
was it fake?
No.
Oh, no.
And you know, I can't find it. But if I do find it, I'm going to link it in this video. And but he was like, she's just there like posing. He's not saying anything that's of any use at all. Before he'd even taken the first photo, he's like, yeah, sexy. And I was just like, God, I'm sat in a different continent and I'm folding in half with awkward. It's so
it's
gross.
making me feel awkward, even not even seeing it.
Yeah.
I do think though, I think some photographers have it in their head that it's their job, it's their calling to increase the model's self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I don't know about other models, but we don't model unless we're all right in ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe like...
You can kill a model's self-esteem really quickly. That's one thing you can do really quickly.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But
well, yeah, you just tell me
not
like shit, right? Like,
oh no. Okay, so here's how you kill a model's self-esteem. So we'll be shooting, and I'll say, okay, can I get you to just turn this way? And I'll take a photo, and there's a little click, and I'll just go, no.
Yeah.
Right, and then I'll ask you to do something else, and then at that moment the trust is gone.
Yeah, and you'd be like, no, it's just not working.
It's a really bad terminology, but I do always say to photographers and workshops, don't ever say no. Shoot through a problem. But so if you're working with a model and they are doing something that you don't want, direct them away from it,
right?
In like a positive way.
That's what I learned teaching at preschool. Never say no. Just
move them away from the idea.
Yeah, get it.
So
get it.
What you do is, I've had it before where, so I was telling you I worked for a glamour agency and I was doing their commercial stuff.
Yeah.
And it was honestly like trying to pull your own teeth out because they're only used to doing glamour and I'm trying to do like lifestyle-y, happy portraiture type stuff. And so this one kept going to do like, only way I can describe it is like elbows to belly button, like push boobs together.
Right. Okay.
That kind of thing. And I was like, let's try our arms around here, hands in your pocket. Let's put one hand in your back pocket and just kind of like lean with the other one, stuff like that. Trying to just move them away. And it'd be like one shot and then back to that. And I was like, okay. So, and after like the fourth go, honestly, I was just like, fuck it. It's like, can you just stop doing that? Because it looks bad. And it just killed the shoot dead. And I was like, I don't care. Like, but this is just so bad on all levels. I'm done.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
you almost have to jingle your keys and move people away from stuff. Like, I think photographers the same thing, you know.
Yeah, maybe, but I catch myself doing it. I think we were talking about this earlier, and I said,
did I say no to you earlier and have a go?
No. Like, we were talking about different styles, and I said sometimes when I'm just going into robot mode, I will, like, the previous stint that I had as a model, I was predominantly art nude.
Yeah.
So I'll do these like elaborate poses with my arms in trackies and a top.
Right.
Or I will be, sat doing the lifestyle kind of portraiture style, and I'll suddenly just throw in a little like S-curve,
right,
like boobs that stuck out thing.
Yeah,
it does.
You were saying as well about like if you do two shoots in a row and they're two really different styles.
Yeah.
By the second one, you're doing the first one style almost imposing.
Yeah. And sometimes if you like, I'm usually. There is an element of fitness to most of my shoots. Like, even if it's like 10 shots, someone will usually want to do some fitness stuff. And to switch your mode from whatever you were just doing before to fitness and back again, that can like malfunction me sometimes, and I'll just go a bit like.
So what kind of prep do you have to do for a fitness shoot? Is it like a fasting thing, or do you have to work out right before?
I used to think that it was something special like that, but actually just get some sleep, eat a decent meal for breakfast so you're not hungry, and do the shoot. Like, what I do find though with fitness stuff, and I actually noticed it in a shoot that was not fitness, I was using a lot of muscle tone to hold myself in certain positions, and then by the end of the shoot there was like a full abs happening.
Right.
So what I do sometimes do is if I've sat on my ass on a train for like 3 hours prior to a shoot, I will do some like sit-ups or something just to wake my muscles up a little bit. And I do actually find it might be a placebo.
Might be. I mean, I've had shoots with male models where it's like jeans and no top, and they're like on the floor doing push-ups really quickly and stuff.
I think it does make a very minute difference to
might just, even if it's just in confidence, it's worth it because it then carries over to the photo.
Yeah, I do see bikini competitor girls doing that before they go on stage. They do the whole, like, they pull the resistance bands to wake their muscles up and stuff.
Yeah.
But usually, do you know what? It's a bit of baby oil and the right lighting, really.
Yeah, lighting does so much, doesn't it?
Yeah, we just experienced that.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. It is. Like, people think, like, I'll put these photos up and people think that is actually how I look in every single light, all of the time. And then I turn up and I'm literally just a normal human being with a normal body.
Right.
Like, that can look fitnessy in poses, you know, and you kind of see people go, oh. Like,
well, I mean, we also talked about one of the things I find difficult with when I see fitness shoots is that so much of the energy of the lighting of the lighting setup or whatever is dedicated to making the muscles stand out and makes the skin look terrible.
Maybe if I was like still 18, that'd be okay, but I'm not. Or like they do the thing in the edit where they up like the clarity, or there's some sort of like, but they don't sort your face out afterwards.
It's going to get even worse now because I'm not trying to pander. If you understand what I'm saying, I'm sorry. So there's a program called Lightroom.
Yes.
Okay. And in Lightroom, they've just added probably a while ago, I just don't pay attention, a slider that's called texture.
Right.
And they should have just called it make everyone look like they're made of gravel.
Right, grainy.
Oh, it's horrendous. It just it will like make it like opens your pores out to the point where you can swim through them. And,
wow,
good stuff.
Yeah, I've. It's a shame.
I feel like you should have to have a license for editing. Like you should have to go through a bit of training.
Do you know? I've actually dabbled myself, only in the sense of like phone apps,
right?
And like I've watched myself systematically ruin an image. Like I've seen stuff like pop up on Insta, and it's not quite filtered. Someone's just bleached out their whole skin and they've made their eyes pop, and
hashtag no filter,
no filter, no makeup selfie, and it's like the most worst edit. And I thought I'm gonna get an edit in it.
I have a really good no makeup picture story. So this is actually quite funny. So a model that I did a BTS video, like the only one I think I've ever done for someone else. And I was like, oh, I could get into video, and did it once. And I was like, fuck that.
Yeah, okay.
And this guy's doing a shoot with a model, and part of it was like a no makeup beauty set. But it's not no makeup.
Right,
you can't. Like, no, you can't. Okay. And unless you're going to have some poor retoucher just kill himself for like 6 months fixing it. Yeah, sure. So they're doing it, and they do the shoot. I do the BTS and so on. The photos get put up, and then I see the model put one up on Facebook, right? And she said, oh, here's a no makeup beauty shot.
But she was in makeup.
And there was a comment by this guy that was like, you're wearing mascara, right?
Yeah.
And she come back and was like, she said, no, I think she said, no, I wasn't, first of all. And he's like, you're definitely wearing mascara. And she said, if there's any there, it was like residual from what I had on before.
But she's just straight out, flat out lied.
Right. But it gets even better. So he keeps pushing. Like if it was me, and I'm a bit of a shit stirrer, I would just go, this ain't worth my time. I'll just leave it.
Yeah, sure.
So he kept going and digging. It's like, I'm pretty sure you're also wearing a little bit of eyeshadow and like there's a bit of contour. He kept prodding. And in the end, she just put fuck off twat as her response. I was like, was it really worth it? You could have just put the picture up without mentioning no makeup and this whole thing could have been avoided. Yeah, funny times.
Yeah.
All right. So as far as you said you've been modeling 11 years?
Yeah, on and off.
Right. And in that 11 years, what is it that keeps you coming back? What is the enjoyment? Is it getting the photos back? Is it the shooting?
I think I figured out about myself after trying to work 2 office jobs that I have some sort of adult onset ADHD, and I cannot sit down for more than 20 minutes.
You're doing well so far.
Actually, I am, but I'm really quite fidgety.
You have been Hugh Granting quite a bit.
Yeah. So that was one thing. That made me think, right, okay, and the second thing, actually, especially this time around when I've tried to say, okay, do the stuff you want to do. Yeah. That's it. Like, it can be really creative.
Yeah.
It can be really creative. I also like the fact that, this is going to sound like airy-fairy and up my own arsehole, and it's not meant to. It's a little bit of a channel of expression.
Yep.
Because, I don't know, for me, my wider life, I don't know. Like when I was younger, I was a real exhibitionist and I was quite a wild child.
Right.
And for various reasons, that had to all calm down. It just had to because, at 25 years old, you start to get consequences from a crazy lifestyle and loads of partying and stuff. It's not conducive to I don't know, living like an adult.
Yeah.
But there is still part of me in there that likes to be all these different people and likes to, you know, and in Shoots you can kind of do that.
Almost like acting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, there's that part. And there is like, as well, I didn't ever, you know that I'd ever really be interested in the art of photography, like what makes a good image and stuff, but I really am.
Right.
And I don't know how to explain it, but I get a lot out of, you know, it's like you were saying earlier, like if you really are into something, you'll have your favorite this and you'll look up to that person and you'll, you know.
Oh, we were talking about like the all the contributing factors. So like it's not just, it's like the styling, the composition of the shot, the mood, the expression. When this is so this is what I was going to say earlier and I didn't get the chance, and it's probably better I do it now anyway, is that a lot of people are happy with a cake.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll photograph a flower, right? Or they'll photograph a pretty girl, or they'll photograph a car or whatever. And they'll just, the car or the flower or the pretty girl or whatever is doing all the work.
Yes.
They don't have any icing.
Yeah, and they don't have...
And the styling, the lighting, the composition,
everything
what you're trying
to...
That's all the icing, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all
I don't
the
know why
bits.
people aren't interested in it.
It's all the bits around the focus point of the shot, and even like the micro expression in your face, or like, you know, little things like that. I think I've come to appreciate over doing this what actually it takes to create a stunning photograph of anything, whether it be a girl or, you know, whatever. And I just find it quite cool to be a part of that sometimes. You know, not all the time. You get your bang average like shoot and it's all nice. And
sorry about
that. No, but like sometimes I'm not on form. Do you know what I mean? Or like whatever. But sometimes, you know, I'm really quite passionate about something for once in my life. You know, I can lose interest really quickly and stuff. And with modelling, as long as you keep yourself challenged and you keep doing the stuff you genuinely like, it's really easy to fall into a conveyor belt pattern of just, book a shoot, do it, same pose, different outfit. Yeah. But if you actually, there is so much to stay engaged with in this job. Like, it won't last forever. But
what I always say with weddings, and this is no different, I guess if you like, as far as the tide goes with photographers and models are generally paid more often than photographers are. So I think in that sense, this would make sense to you, is that I'm not the biggest people person, especially not big groups. And people always say, well, but you photograph weddings. So, but all of those people I'll never see again. I've got one day. Like my boss is only my boss for one day.
Yeah, and
then it changes, so it keeps me engaged.
Yeah.
And if I have a bad boss, it's only for a day.
Yeah, 100%. And if you have a bad day, it's only that. Yeah. That's it.
And you get to approach the next one saying, I'm going to make this one a better one.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what kind of keeps you, I wouldn't say fresh, but like reinvigorates you to want to keep doing it.
Absolutely.
If you I've worked in jobs where you're, you know, Monday to Friday, you're going in at a certain time, you're going home at a certain time. And if you hate your boss, every day just gets slightly worse and worse and worse.
Yeah,
and every time you have to see him, it gets worse. And that was pretty much the biggest factor in me wanting to move into working for myself, was that I'd rather be in control of I think I said it earlier, I'd rather be poor and happy than what I was, which was poor and miserable.
Yeah, which is stupid because I guess the reason why we earn money in the first place is to facilitate having a nicer life. So if you can have a better life without the money, it just eliminates the middleman.
Exactly. I think.
But yeah, I suppose, like good point. Like with modelling, like a lot of jobs, they say, oh yeah, I love my job because it's different every day. Bullshit. It's not. Like with modelling, it really actually is.
Yeah.
Like, it actually is.
Yeah, like people that work in sales that go to the same office and they make the same thing. Oh, every day's a different day. It's like, but is it?
No, it's not really.
Like your lunch might be different.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I just attacked people in sales.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is, but.
No, I get it. Yeah.
So of all the genres that you've shot, you've done like portraiture, you've done glamour, you've done pretty much everything, I guess. So what's like the most challenging?
I would say portraiture.
Yeah,
100%.
How come?
Just because an engaging portrait is quite rare in comparison to, say, an engaging glamour shot.
Yeah.
Because I guess like with a lot of other genres, if you're doing something like art nude or something, you can rely on your elaborate posing and often the scenery. If you're doing like fashion or glamour, there's the outfit, the lingerie and the boob and bum pose or the, but with portrait, that's just you. That's it.
Yeah, it's very personal.
You've got nothing to fall back on.
Yeah.
And actually you can't, like what I said to you earlier, I think any engaging good portrait I've ever seen, it seems anyway, that there's a little bit of the real person in there because it's not about good portraits. They don't have something very dramatic going on a lot of the time. There's no like big expressions going on. It's little micro expressions like in your eyes, just a tweak of the eyebrow, the lips and, stuff like that. And I wouldn't say that I'm particularly amazing at portraits. I just find that they are the time goes very fast when I'm trying to give to a portrait.
Yeah.
And every now and again when I do it, I feel really satisfied with myself because it's genuine acting to do that,
Well, with portraiture shoots, from a photographic point of view, it's really important in my opinion, and that's all that is, it's really important in my opinion to talk to the person, don't talk to the model.
Right, okay.
Which is why I don't like talking photographic stuff too much. For the simple reason that if I want to show people you, I have to be able to see you. I know that sounds really philosophical and twatty, but I have to be able to kind of get to know you quite quickly.
Yeah, good point.
And like I said to you earlier, so when we shot, I think 5 sets, something like that today. The first set, I barely spoke other than just talking absolute shite for the sake of it. Got lots of nice photos, definitely got a lot of nice photos, but it was also the longest set we shot. And I was just kind of watching how you moved in terms of like the way you like to pose, because there are models that like yourself who are very fluid.
Right.
And you can almost pick moments. And if you might have 50 bad photos in terms of you pick the wrong moment, but the one where you do get it right is going to be so much substantially better than other potential styles of modeling. Like there are people that are very clicky
or static.
So they're very like pose and then the next pose and then the next pose and there's nothing in between.
Right.
When someone's fluid and more dancey, you can actually catch moments between poses that are quite nice.
Yeah.
But you don't know until you shoot someone. Like I didn't know until we met today what you're going to be like in front of a camera. I've seen what you can end up looking like from a camera, but I don't know what you're like in front of one. So when it comes to portraiture, first thing is to watch your movement and just see, like, I watch your posture. Are you like someone
which is awful?
Everyone says that. Everyone thinks they've got bad posture. I've got terribly bad posture, and everyone really else bad. I'm jealous of. I'm actually like I think I'm about 6 foot tall or in that ballpark, but I look about 5'6" when I actually stand up because I just don't actually stand up straight.
I'm saying I've got a really long neck, so I end up feeling like an ostrich. Just
well, an ostrich, ostrich is all right. Ostrich is
actually
cool.
No, an ostrich. What I actually meant was a vulture. That's
okay, that's slightly worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to pick on one bird or the other.
Like, if any photographers are listening, like, by the way, just, I'm not actually a vulture. It's fine, you can still book me if you want to.
So, yeah, it's a case of like watching your posture, watching your expression. And then sometimes, actually all the time, it's about finding buttons with people. People will have things that they react to more. Wow. So there's models I've worked with that I can talk politics with and they get really fiery. Right. And it's really easy to keep them engaged.
Yeah.
And then there's other ones, if I was to say anything about politics, I could just see the shutters come down straight away and they just be so bored.
Okay, yeah.
You just have to, that's why it's good to ask questions rather than answer them all the time, because you get to learn a bit more about the other person.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
When it comes to stuff like art nude and stuff where you're more of, I don't like the term, but you're kind of more of a prop in the shot. So like a landscape shot and you're kind of a prop in the shot or whatever. Is that quite hard to learn? Because you can't practice that in front of a mirror.
No, you can't really.
So how do you go about learning all of those kind of intricate, strange poses? On
the job.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Baptism by fire.
Yeah, basically, like sometimes on shoots you get to look through the images afterwards, like, and you can go, oh, that is not flattering. I'm never going to make that movement ever again. Yeah. Or like you learn what your strengths and weaknesses are from looking at the bad shots, I think.
Yeah, gotcha, yeah.
I've got quite big legs, for example, and I'm not super tall.
Right.
So I've got big legs, not super tall, and I look like a vulture. I'm not very good at self-promotion. Like I'm just going to plug something later that's going to make me sound amazing.
That should be the tagline on the website, I think.
Yeah. So over time of realising, God, that looks bad. Or, wow, that actually looked sick. How did I do that? That was amazing. Like, that's how I suppose over time they become more refined. But I'm still learning about my poses.
Yeah.
It also, like, I remember one time I come back after just partying basically for about a year, living in Ibiza. I came back, I was 2 stone heavier and none of my poses worked for me anymore.
Right.
But that's not to say 2 stone heavier looked bad on me. It was just a different body to pose with. And now this time I've come back and I'm a bit leaner because I'm doing fitness. And, you know, some poses I look really thin, you know, like where before I needed the slimming pose.
Right.
This time around I actually need to, like, you know, do a whole different thing. So it changes.
I'm a bit older than you. So years ago there was a TV show. I think it's still on, but it's crap now. When it first came out, it was called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Okay.
And the main point of it was that blokes that are not very fashionable, not very stylish, the main problem is they don't wear stuff that fits their size. So they were whatever. They were a large 10 years ago. And over the course of 10 years, as they've got older, naturally, and they work a difficult job and they don't have time to exercise or whatever, they're still buying large because they just think that's their size.
Right.
But they're getting bigger, so they look even bigger. So the actual process was just like be comfortable with what you've got rather than buy something that makes you, like, reminds you of when you were smaller.
Yeah.
And that's been completely undone in the last 5 years by this stupid movement of, like, everyone should just be happy with everything no matter what.
Even if it promotes ill health and diabetes and
and like, it's so bizarre to me. We talked about this on another podcast. Like, the idea, like, if I was to say, oh, I've got an idea for a campaign, you can help me out. I'm looking for an anorexic model because I want to promote how cool it is to be anorexic.
Yeah, because
you
just
go,
be
that's
yourself.
disgusting. That's gross. That's horrible.
Skinny shaming is a thing.
Oh God, absolutely.
Like, but you're not allowed to say to anyone, look, you might, like, if it's a danger to someone's health, you might want to lose a bit of weight because it's a danger to your health.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't say that to a person.
No.
But
you can't say anything in 2019 at all.
No, no, you can't. I suppose everyone's shamed kind of everyone as well.
The first problem was you assumed that they were a person. You assumed their biology for them, which is terrible.
Yeah, but there we go. Exactly that. But, you know, I get it sometimes. Like, you know, like, oh, I bet you barely eat anything. I actually eat a fucking lot of food. I eat a lot of food, but I train. So that's that. But if I said to someone, oh, I bet you eat loads. Yeah. That wouldn't really be okay, would it? I don't know.
The best comeback I've heard for that, I feel really bad because I think I'm overweight personally, and I feel really bad that the idea of being overweight being accepted, knowing what I know about how it makes you feel physically, how it makes you feel personally, you shouldn't be encouraging it. You should not be encouraging it. And I feel really bad that we live in a sort of Western society, because obviously we're very sort of incubated from the rest of the world, but in a Western society where the only way you can win is to make someone else lose. Yeah. That's kind of sad. Like, you can't, if you want to be happy being you, be happy being you.
Don't have to
Why
slag
do you
off
have to
everyone
ruin
else.
me?
Yeah. Don't start slagging off everybody else.
Exactly.
Just literally, and you don't have to make a statement that you're happy how you are. Just be how you are.
Yeah.
Like,
nothing says that you're
uncomfortable.
Not exactly. Nothing
like,
says that you're not happy. Quite like going, but I am. Yeah. I'm happy. Hey everyone, I'm happy.
Yeah. I hear it sometimes in modelling, like, it's not really in modelling, but the Instagram thing's got, you know, bigger and bigger, and everyone's got this thing about, oh yeah, no Photoshop, don't be so fake, let's put our real self forward. No one's going to like that picture because it's a visual stimuli. If it's not attractive to someone's eye, why, like, someone said on a photographer's page, proper ranting now, but someone said, why don't you shoot average sized women, or, like, you know,
I've had that.
Average size, okay, yeah, because, like, you know, I'm actually a little bit thin for the now in body type, which, so there's no average size.
I'm just holding out hope that society keeps getting fatter and then I'll become average.
No, but
I'll feel a lot better then.
It just it chops and changes all the time, and people think that they are now supporting a healthy body image when now there's loads of thin people that are getting desperately bullied, trying to, you know. Anyway, but this, it wasn't average size; it was like average looking, you know. On this photographer's page.
So they should be photographing average looking people.
Right, okay, so I'm a wildlife photographer. Yeah. There's all these flowers here, and I choose to shoot a piece of fucking wheat, like a nettle.
Dandelion or something.
Yeah, might be nice to shoot that because inclusion, but is that actually going to make for a cool image? Or, like, on the other end of the spectrum, you can shoot an extremely sort of, like, gnarly looking face, like maybe withered, like maybe really ugly or something, and that would look equally as cool. But shooting an average human being is like that doesn't. And not photoshopping it, or it's not really. It's photography.
It's by its definition of being average, it's unremarkable. Therefore, I won't care.
Yeah, so I'm going to scroll straight past that. So,
exactly.
So it has to be.
Which is why when you have something, you wanted to rant. I'm going to have a slight rant. Generally speaking, I think there's a pretty good rule here.
Yeah.
The more someone has to talk about themselves in the caption under a photo, the less interesting the photo is.
Yeah, probably.
Like if you're a model so there was this thing, it's probably still a thing. I'm so secluded from the world. I just play with my dog and watch TV. But there was this thing of putting song lyrics with a picture, right? So you put up a picture and then you find some famous song lyrics that have nothing to do with the fucking picture whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then you put it with it like it's the title of the image, like it's some art piece. If you have to do that, your photo's shit.
I think I will,
or at least uninteresting.
I will counter that by saying I think sometimes, like, I don't know, for me, when I first started Instagram, and I've never really been a social media-y type person in my personal life.
So other than the fact that you look like a vulture, you've got funny legs, you're not that tall, and you're not very good on social media, you're brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, as long as we're keeping a tally, I'm going to make sure at the end we just double check all of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not very social media orientated.
Not in my personal life, but my Instagram, I've got a handle on it for my model stuff now, and like I can post a picture just for the picture.
Yeah.
Like, and I think at the beginning I felt like just posting one of my pictures with nothing else except the picture felt a little bit like I should be giving a bit more. Like I needed to provide some pseudo reason for posting that image.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I get it now. Like people just post a picture and that's cool. Like they don't actually need to give a reason why they're posting it. They don't need to give like some speech, or they don't need to like put lyrics on it or anything. And I was one of these that posted a picture but then posted a fucking life story underneath it. You know, now I just post the picture and I realise that nobody even reads the bit below.
There's a movement that I absolutely hate, which is the idea that you should have like, okay, so I won't go into this because it's not worth the rant, but like hump day.
Oh, I've done that. I've done that. Do you know what? I've done that. And then I've just hated myself as soon as I've done it.
I hate you a little bit for it.
Yeah, I do as well.
That's one of those things where it just feels so Nuts magazine.
It's weird now because like some of the things that, I don't know.
I think it hasn't aged well. That social media attitude hasn't aged very well. There's still people that do it.
Do you know, like I sell out on social media every single day. I do. And like anyone.
Am I making you reconsider your social media?
No, you're not, because it's actually going really well for me. And like,
okay, that's fine. Because it's going terribly for me because I don't do #hump day.
I think like I figured out what works on Insta, what doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. And so my best work that I'm very proud of, I will never post on Instagram because no one will give a fuck.
Right.
like what I post on
Instagram has its own
thing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
No matter, for example, no matter how good a black and white image is, I ain't going to post it. No matter how good a full length image is with a beautiful landscape in, I'm not going to post it because people don't want to know.
Right.
I mean, maybe I've shot myself in the foot a little bit with it because like once you start posting like glamour oriented images, that's the following you get.
Yeah.
So you shape your own following that way. And now when I post a beautiful portrait, no one gives a shit because they're the...
You just get loads of people with interesting accents. So I've just gone,
do you know what? Right, okay, I'm going to detach from this. This is now a persona. This is not really anything to do with even a representation of what I do as a model.
It's a character.
It's a character now.
Right, I see.
Like she's quite sexy.
Right.
She's a little bit
like vulture.
A little bit like no, she doesn't look like a vulture on Instagram. No way, no full length. Like no, but it's a character. And often when people book me, but they first know me on Instagram, then they know me on like one of the modelling portfolio websites.
Yeah.
They think I only shoot glamour.
Yeah.
And I don't, but that's all that goes on Insta because that's what people like. And so
would you say glamour's the easiest thing to shoot?
Yeah.
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 Because of basically what it is.
It is just easy to shoot.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I did have this pointed out to me actually, and it is interesting. Now that I'm a bit leaner and I've got good muscle, see, I am promoting myself now. I've got good muscle definition for a vulture. I've got a lot of muscle definition, which works for a lot of things. glamour, it's really actually counterproductive to be quite lean and, you know, like it's harder to shoot the sexy stuff.
One thing I found when I worked for the glamour agency I spoke about earlier was that this is not a knock at all, but every single model that turned up for a shoot was, I would go as far as to say, considerably bigger than their portfolio would tell you. And I think that's a glamour thing. I think there's a lot of glamour models that are like, they'll Photoshop it.
I think also like a curvaceous look, you cannot achieve that without a bit of body weight on you.
Yeah.
And that's what...
And then you have Photoshop to tuck in the stuff that anyone would have a problem with.
Yeah, but like, you know, there is a side of me that feels like I hold myself back in some genres because I keep this fitness physique going.
Yeah.
But in other genres, to have a bit more weight on me would look so much better.
Right.
Like to be a bit more womanly, you just need a bit more body fat on you. So maybe for glamour, like I remember this photographer specifically said, glamour's soft bodied style.
Right.
Like, so don't tense up because we don't want that. We actually want like a soft and very feminine style.
Right.
Like I was actually talking to this model about this the other day and she said she's struggling to get work. And I said, because she's very lean, naturally. She's just very slim, naturally. Yeah. And I said, maybe you could try some like just abstract art nude shit instead of glamour. Because the only style, which is hard to do, based on experience of being fairly lean, more lean than I look, especially on Instagram, leaner than I look.
Yeah.
And having to be a bit of a contortionist in order to put those curves in my body these days, now that I've not got so much weight on me. I said to her, that's the only style that you're going to struggle with because you're lean. You can do anything else. But glamour is actually really hard to do unless you're a bit more feminine.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
If you've got the body type, I guess it's easy. But the hard part is if you haven't got the body type.
Yeah. Like with a bit of weight on me, I can pull off glamour styles and it's really easy to be this shape. Mm-hmm. And if you put flat lighting on a lean person, woof.
Woof.
Woof. I don't know even how to explain it because there's no natural contouring to me. I'm just lean. So like,
what's the thinking behind you being like you training so hard at the moment then?
Do you know, it happened by accident. I took one of these model breaks to go into the real world and I worked in a preschool.
Wrote a CV.
Yeah, but I actually wrote one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even did a little qualification.
Oh, nice.
I have actually gone to uni and all that stuff.
I'm not trying to make you have an existential crisis, I promise.
I've had a few. I'm probably due another one sooner or later. I was working at this preschool and there was a gym near to the preschool and that's where I'd go every day after the preschool. I'd just go to the gym.
Work off the energy from how angry the kids made you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Or like sometimes try to re-energise myself after like they've sapped all my energy. They were lovely. Yeah, I loved them.
Love kids.
Yeah, no, I genuinely did love that job. But anyway, so it just kind of like happened by accident. It is partly like genetics. Like my brother's a ground worker who doesn't really even train. He's got like an 8-pack. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. Okay.
He's just that.
Me too.
It's just that, yeah. So then when I decided I'll come back to modelling and I was working at a preschool, I thought, right, what can I do that is okay while I'm working at a preschool?
Right.
Fitness.
Yeah.
I'm not a fashion shape, so fitness. So that's what I started doing.
Well, fashion shape's easy, just for the cameraman to get lower.
Yeah, I suppose
It makes everyone look taller.
Yeah, I suppose
that drives me mad, honestly. Like, I've ranted about this to the point where like blood has come up. But one of the things that pisses me off the most with photography is that everybody just shoots at standing height.
Oh, that pisses me off because I'm short.
Bring yourself, if you want to make the person look powerful and tall, away from whatever you're shooting, but if you're photographing a person and you want them to be like powerful and tall, you take whatever you're shooting. So if it's a full body, just go halfway the height of the person and then bring yourself down from that point. And then you've added height to them.
Yeah.
And if you want it to be like the most flattering, plain, vanilla, boring, whatever, literally that middle point.
Yeah.
And if you want it to be more and more about the person, you bring yourself up to more eye level. I don't understand why this is difficult.
Do you know what? That's one thing I wince about. I don't mind working with any kind of photographer of any kind of, whatever.
Yeah.
If they've been doing it a day or 10 years or whatever. Someone shoots me at their head height.
And they lollipop you.
Oh my Jesus. I have to say something.
Yeah.
And I'll usually blame it on myself. I don't like to go into a shoot, especially not a paid shoot, and tell a photographer how to shoot.
Right.
But I will always say, can you just go down.
Could you just get a bit fucking lower?
Could you just kneel down? Because and I will just tell them it's because I'm not that tall. But really anyone, right? You don't shoot anyone really if you want a full length. Do you ever shoot someone?
Do I?
Like,
nah.
Is it a thing to shoot?
Well, if you want it to look
small,
yeah. Which there's loads of opportunities. I have no idea. What I think most of it is I don't want to say ineptitude because that sounds rude.
But I know to go low and take a picture.
Yeah, but then girls with phones know more than most photographers.
That's actually really good. We actually get angles that photographers sometimes
honestly,
can't get.
Girls with, and I don't mean that to be sexist, because guys with phones almost entirely useless.
Yeah.
So it's a positive thing. But girls, this young generation with phones know more about angles and composition 100%. Than most photographers.
Yeah.
It's scary.
100%.
Yeah. If you actually go on like a lot of modeling websites, the amount of people that are even using selfies when they've got other stuff,
some of my selfies are better than my shots.
Want their angle.
Yeah. Like my angles, like I'm starting to learn about the selfie game. Okay, now that I'm doing this Instagram.
Selfie game.
It's a bit
sound
of
like a 90s, 20s racketeer. Like you're
selfie game.
Yeah.
No, but it's quite an art to take a good selfie. It is quite hard.
Yeah.
You can't just go, right, that'll do. No.
Yeah, that won't do.
No. And then there's your own angles, and then I'm starting to develop what a good angle is for me. And bloody hell, I can look a lot bloody better in a selfie.
Yeah.
Than I do,
Yeah, sorry about that.
In some shots.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but sometimes,
I think as well, though, it's a pattern of learning what you look like. Yeah. And you never see yourself. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
You've never seen yourself. You only see a reflection or a photo. And not to be philosophical.
No, but that's actually true.
And what lens is used dictates a lot of how you view yourself. And I think an iPhone and you're on some rubbish.
Are they wide angles?
Like 30 mil, 32 mil, in that ballpark, which doesn't make sense. But I believe it's like a corrected 32 mil. It's also on a very small sensor. Not that I'm talking shop here. After I said that I don't.
Yeah, but...
So there's a lot of depth of field because it's a very small sensor and a wide angle, which is why you can take a picture of a landscape. You can take a picture of you close up and still have everything in the background.
Yeah.
Look the way it does. But people just get used to that aesthetic of what they look like. So then when you switch, I've found a lot lately, if I go 50 mil or lower, people are instantly against the idea before they even really have the photos taken.
What do you mean 50 mil or lower?
So 50 mil down to 35 mil in that ballpark. Like I used to do headshots a lot with 40 mil. Right. Haven't done it much lately. And the reason is because it actually creates quite a lot of character. There's only certain faces you can do it with. You have to look at the shape of someone's face. Right. And if they've got way too strong of features, you can't do it because they become too prominent. But if you have someone that's a little bit more delicately featured, you can shoot wider.
Right.
And it makes them have more character. And then you kind of, the photo feels a bit more realistic, I guess.
I think I know what you mean.
But because people are so used to their angle and how they look on their phone and the way that they take photos, they object straight away to anything that might not give them the same aesthetic.
I suppose it's that sort of like we're not really comfortable with, when you see your real, as you said, you see yourself in reflection. When you see a real flipped over one, that's how you actually look. You're really uncomfortable with that, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I suppose it's not necessarily that one's better than the other. It's just kind of like we don't like to see ourselves any different to what we believe.
No. And when you've taken the picture, it's weird. It's like my wife's a clinical psychologist, so we should have got her to sit in on this because she could have.
Actually?
Yeah,
that's what I studied.
Yeah, she could answer all my questions here because she does that all the time. I'm like, I've got this theory, and she's like, no. So that helps me out quite a lot. But I think that when you take the photo that you're in, you don't remember you're not looking at the photo, you're remembering the photo. Even though you're looking at it, you're remembering it. So your memory of your positivity or your negativity attached to that is part of it. Yeah. It's like if you do a shoot with a photographer and the shoot's fucking awful, like horrible, awkward or mean or anything like that, you come away negative experience. If the photos are good, you're probably still going to have a negative feeling towards the photos, regardless of the aesthetic. Yeah. It's kind of weird. Yeah. And people are so now like used to photographing themselves that when it's someone else, they're giving up a bit of that power.
Yeah. Do you know what? I relate to what you've just said.
Well, you kept trying to take a selfie with my camera earlier, so I figured.
This is not. No, I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a power thing.
That. Yeah. And it's also like, I get it with makeup artists.
Oh, right.
I don't like that happening. I know
you just don't like makeup artists in general.
No, not in general. But I don't. You
think they should all be on a windowless train to Austria?
No, not at all. I just find it uncomfortable giving someone else complete control over what my face is going to look like in this shoot.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's a brilliant point. Here's something that's really hard from a photographer. I've not learned how to deal with this.
Right.
Okay, so it's me, you, and a makeup artist. I have an idea. The makeup artist does a job that you don't like.
Oh, that happens.
You hate me now.
Do you know, I will talk to you about this, because I've drafted a message that I have not sent to a photographer.
Yeah.
Because the deal was that, I was paid, and also I get these images that I will share,
Yeah.
The image quality is amazing. He's done an amazing job. They're beautiful shots. The makeup, I just don't like it. So I'm not going to post them. And I don't know how to say it. Because at the time I didn't like it. At the time I didn't like the makeup. I mean, it was all right. It was all right. It was just all right. Like I could have done a better job on my own face myself. And it wasn't technically because the makeup artist wasn't very good. She just did the wrong makeup for my face.
Right.
And so no matter how cool the shots are, my face doesn't look right. So I don't know how to say it. Like it's the exact situation that you just said.
It's the weird dynamic though, because I've had it a few times, especially agency stuff. And I was doing portfolios for agencies, and the model didn't like the makeup artist's way they work or something they had or whatever, the work that was done.
I'm glad it's not just me.
God, as a photographer, you feel terrible. And it's like, I didn't do anything, but why do I feel bad? But you feel really bad.
The whole shoot's fucked from that point. Because if your makeup's not right and you feel ugly, therefore...
No confidence.
There's no way that you're going to be able to...
Again, it proves that you can knock self-esteem out really easily.
Yeah. All
right, so we'll start to wrap up now, I think.
Cool, this has been
a good
really
chat.
cool.
You've started to relax. I feel like you've enjoyed it a little bit.
I have really enjoyed it.
So our last question, this is where I ruined the whole thing probably.
God,
I'm joking though.
Right.
So last question then. What's after modelling? Do you want to do something close to photography or something to do with modelling once you're done modelling yourself?
Do you know what? I never thought I would be one of these. I never thought in a million years that I would do this. But I've tried to work in industries where it's a little bit about logic and it's a little bit about, marketing. I've done like web design. I've done kids, people. Don't like any of that stuff.
Right.
What I do get passionate about is an amazing picture.
Right.
So what's the logical follow-on point from that? Probably pick up a camera. I just never thought I'd be one of those because a lot of models do. But I think I should give it a shot because it is generally something that I think I can appreciate. That it's a skill.
I mean, if you come in with a taste, as you obviously already have, like you have an acquired idea of what you like.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, generally speaking, women getting into photography are better a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Because they're more focused on the intent of the picture and what they like visually as opposed to talk about the technical side.
Yeah.
I mean, what about like creative directing or anything or styling? Anything like that interest you?
I do actually really enjoy styling, but again, I'm actually shit at everything if I'm not interested. So if somebody, if somebody wanted me to style something in a way that I didn't think looked nice, I'd probably be really crap at it.
Right.
Like where.
So you feel like you need creative control, which photography would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So we need to get you a camera now then.
Yeah. And I need to find photographers to bug and pester and become their assistant on shoots so I can learn and things like that,
Yeah. Work with the creepy ones and then just do the opposite. That's the best way forward. Unless you want to be do you want to be a creepy photographer?
But that'd be so cool, wouldn't it? Be the first straight female creepy photographer to shoot.
I think there's a few.
Yeah, I suppose there are.
There's a few.
I suppose there are.
There's so I'll finish this by pissing someone off that I know for a fact will hear this.
Oh.
So there's
how many people does this go out to? If I just
it goes out to the internet, so all 9 people listen to it.
So now all of these 9 people.
Everyone that's not online talking about how someone's not their president or talking about how someone's not their gender or talking about how something's not their race or talking about how something's not fair or something's not.
It's probably just us then.
It's like 9 people that aren't just whinging online to nobody.
Cool.
But so on the subject of straight female creepy photographer
that shoots females.
There was a photographer a few years ago. It was so funny. They were trying to. Do you know what a social justice warrior is?
Not
so it's
really.
essentially like someone that, like, and you have basically anyone that hates Donald Trump is essentially it. But people that have that, like, everything's racist, everything's sexist,
and
everything's
everything
problematic.
should be equal, and
but without even thinking that through.
Right. Okay.
Not like everything should be equal, but they don't want.
But
they don't want equality. They want equity, but it doesn't matter. So there's this social justice smart ass photographer, this female, who's just stir shit up online all the time.
Yeah.
And she posted a Facebook status. Now, I don't follow this girl. I think her work's crap, personally. It's not my cup of tea at all. It's all gimmicks and no cake. It's all icing, no cake for me. And she posted a thing online that said, henceforth, that was my favourite part, henceforth, like, fuck off. Henceforth, I won't be shooting white women anymore.
I know exactly who that is.
Okay, don't say.
I won't say it. But I commented on that and say, yeah, you can delete me and all.
Yeah,
because she said anyone who objects
is a racist.
Yeah. And I was like, I object.
Yeah. You can do whatever. So you said earlier about if you're happy with life, just go be happy with it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do something, just don't do it. You don't have to make it. When you make a point out of it, nothing could say more that you are overcompensating
for something
than the need to say it.
Yeah. And it's also like what you said, just to make yourself feel better, you have to demonize another group of people.
Yeah.
Like
this is the number one thing that I keep telling people when it comes to, if you want to run a business or you want to just do anything for yourself, is do not get hung up on this very modern idea that the only way you can win is for someone else to lose.
Yeah.
And if anyone else wins, you lose. That's so bad for you.
Yeah.
Because every time someone achieves something, you feel like it's been taken from you.
Yeah.
And every time you don't achieve something, you feel like it's because someone else took it. So you have to think, what can you do? What can you positively do to impact your own space? And don't give a shit about everyone else.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Don't ruin it for anyone else. But by don't give a shit, I mean don't hang your hopes on how everyone else is doing.
Yeah, so like, I suppose like getting too hung, like I can do it sometimes. I can do it like with my social media account. I can do it with other models. I get a bit hung up on like what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
And then that's where I start to lose track of what I'm doing and stop enjoying what I'm doing.
It's the, I'm reading Jordan Peterson at the moment, which is, I'm not allowed to read because it's very controversial and terrible because it's 2019. Everything's controversial and terrible. But one of his like rules for life, so his book is called 12 Rules for Life. It's quite interesting. It's got like...
That does sound interesting.
It's a good book. And if you just don't read anything about it and you just read the book...
12 Rules for Life?
I think it's called 12 Rules for Life.
I get that on Audible. I need a new one.
Definitely do. And it's his voice as well. And he sounds like Kermit the Frog. And I can do a very good impression, but I won't.
Oh.
One of his rules is treat yourself as if you were looking after... treat yourself as if you're... the way you would treat someone that you're responsible for. So don't treat yourself like it's you. Imagine you're looking after your brother or your mum or your sister, whoever, someone that you are responsible for, and treat yourself that way. So when you need a kick up the arse, you give yourself a kick up the arse.
Yeah.
You don't sugarcoat stuff for the sake of your own ego because that's only going to prolong the problem.
Right.
So when there's something wrong, deal with it. When something's right, enjoy it. When you do something well, go with it. When something doesn't go right, work out why it didn't go right and don't blame everyone else.
Yeah, 100%.
Just do that.
Yeah.
And it will just instantly make things more progressive for you.
Yeah.
Because you'll move through the gears quicker.
It's funny, I listened to a guy called Eckhart Tolle. He's completely different, a spiritual guy.
Right.
He says the same thing in completely different words, but exactly the same.
Right.
You know, like deal with things in the here and now. Not based on sort of like, don't lean on external factors to kind of, or blame external factors. Yeah. Just if you can deal with it, deal with it. If you can't, let it go, basically.
Well, if it's like the thing of like the trope in movies of like, oh, if the I don't know, the guy hadn't had this bad thing happen to him at school, then he could have done so much for his life or whatever.
It's just going to keep you stuck in school.
It happens, so get the fuck on with it. Like move on to the next thing. That's 100%, life. Yeah. Everyone's going through it. Someone's got it worse than you and someone's got it better. Just get on with it.
If you keep just hanging on to it as an excuse, how are you going to...
Okay, so go back 11 years. Talk to yourself. What's the one piece of advice you give yourself getting into modelling?
Oh my goodness. Go back 11 years. You sure you want to do this? Like,
now
have
I'm
you thought
scared.
this through? Have you thought this through?
No, I don't think anything.
Do you know what?
Through.
My first shoot was in a dungeon, mate. It was really weird the way I got into it. I don't know how I escaped those first few tentative little times and came out of this alive.
I'm quite scared.
I'm glad I did because I really enjoy modelling, but I would have said to myself, check this person's ID, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just maybe what I would have said, no, this is the real story. What I would have said, set your boundaries, like respect yourself.
Yeah.
And only do the things, only do shoots where that actually inspire you to do the shoot. That's what I'd have said. And then I probably wouldn't have left and come back a billion times, but yeah. Yeah.
But you're back.
Yeah. And I really enjoy what I do. No matter what, I feel bad about the way I've just said that. Like, are you sure you want to do this? What I meant is just jumping into someone's studio, which has got a dungeon in it without even checking his ID. Or checking references.
Yeah. Well, it's a weird industry, right? It's a very vulnerable industry.
It can be. Yeah, it can be.
All right, brilliant. I want to say thank you so much for doing this because it's been terrifying.
Really cool. No, it's been really fun.
We bought you a chair especially for this. Is it comfy? Is it all right?
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.